Anytime some dreamer imagines a new automobile and actually succeeds in bringing it to market, it's a big deal, bordering on the miraculous. Conceived by ex-BMW and Aston Martin designer Heinrich Fisker, powered by an ambitious hybrid powertrain, and built outside the automotive establishment, the Fisker Karma is one of those vehicles.
Manufacturing miracles aside, is the Fisker any good?
It's certainly good to look at. With a designer as the head of the company, all sorts of crazy decisions can fly. Sure, we can make the roof lower. Why yes, the wheelbase can be longer. 22-inch wheels? Heck yeah! It all comes together in a striking, irrational, futuristic design that producers should keep in mind if they ever reboot The Running Man.
But you didn't think those good looks came without a price, did you?
If the Fisker Karma were an episode of The Twilight Zone, the cramped rear seats would be the twist.
Seriously, it's freaking tight back here. And not just in terms of head and hip room. You can't stick your feet under the front seat. I'm not inclined towards claustrophobia, but sitting back here with my legs partially immobilized kind of freaks me out. So I'll call dibs on this seat, or maybe that one in a pinch. Remember, even though the Fisker Karma is really huge, its interior volume classifies it as a subcompact, so choose your seat wisely.
Like the exterior, the interior ignores convention, and so we have fascinatingly bizarre stuff like a gauge cluster designed by Spirograph, an energy pyramid transmission selector that shoots green light along a partially exposed battery pack, and door release buttons that practically taunt you to press them while the car is in motion. I mean, what'll happen if you press it? Who knows? Only one way to find out. The whole interior is a potpourri of quasi-futuristic design, marked by environmentally sensitive materials, parts of varying quality, and a 10.2-inch touchscreen used to control most vehicle functions and featuring haptic feedback that doesn't quite make up for its delayed reactions and cluttered layout.
When you're done marveling at the Karma's design, you might actually want to drive it. One of the first things that jumps out to you is the sound. It's really fun to listen to. I don't have any idea what a lot of those noises are, but they kind of sound like what you'd expect a car from the future to sound like.
Drive long enough, and the initial wonder of those sounds does start to wear off.
There are two modes, stealth mode, aka slow mode, and sport mode, aka fast mode, both selectable via this little paddle right here. Floor it in sport, and the gasoline engine kicks in, helping whiz you from 0 to 60 miles per hour in a little more than 6 seconds. Do so in stealth mode, you can make that number 7.9. The shift-free acceleration of the electric motors has an intriguing charm, though with 959 pound-feet of torque on tap, you'd think there'd be a little more kick off the line. Importantly, the Fisker Karma has a top speed of 125 miles per hour, qualifying it as just fast enough for casual Los Angeles commuting.
Moving the Fisker is a series hybrid powertrain consisting of a lithium-ion battery pack occupying the center tunnel, 2 electric motors, and a GM-sourced 2-liter turbocharged direct-injection 4-cylinder engine that charges the batteries through a 175-kilowatt generator. There's also a conspicuous 120-watt solar panel on the roof that slightly increases range by helping power the accessories.
You might have noticed there's another paddle on the right side of the steering wheel. It's used for activating 2 levels of regenerative braking, which is good for controlling your speed when cruising down a hill, or minimizing how frequently you have to put your foot on the brake pedal. Oh, there's got to be a better way! If you do use the brakes, you may notice they take a little getting used to thanks to high pedal efforts and unusual feel. The steering wheel is thicker than anything this side of BMW, through which you get all sorts of great information. Bumps, vibrations, the angry squeals of overtaxed front tires. The feedback on the heavy but manageable efforts of the electro-hydraulic steering are a nice analog touch in a very digital car. And despite a hulking 5,300-pound curb weight, which you can certainly feel, the Karma clings eagerly into corners. Thanks, Goodyear Eagle F1 supercar tires. That same 5,300-pound mass might be partially responsible for a decent ride despite tires that are Kate Moss thin. It's almost like the heavy chassis refuses to be moved.
The Fisker Karma is reportedly able to travel 50 miles on electricity alone, but man, that number really depends on how you drive. Lope along slow enough to eke out 50 electric miles, and don't be surprised when children point, loudly wondering why that fast car is driving so slow. The EPA's 54 mile per gallon equivalent rating is based on a more realistic 33-mile electric range figure. Oh, and once you've exhausted the battery, the Fisker is less efficient than a Ford Explorer. When you return from a day of shifting automotive paradigms, recharging the Karma is as easy as plugging it in. After waiting 2 minutes or so for a shutdown sequence, plug in early and the car won't charge. We're told that updated software is on the way to eliminate the delay. After those 2 minutes, you're only 6 hours away from a fully charged Fisker, assuming you have a 240-volt home charging station. Double that wait with a regular 110 outlet.
By the way, when plugged in, it is not obvious whether or not the Karma is charging. Yes, this little box is doing some light action, but why not have an indicator right here in the charge port? I mean, why waste a perfectly good opportunity to look futuristic? At $102,000, the Fisker Karma isn't cheap. A $7,500 federal tax credit helps lower that price, but there are less expensive ways to buy a plug-in hybrid. Then again, there are much more expensive ways to look cool.
The truth is, buying a Fisker means vengeful backseat passengers, difficulty parking, and fuel efficiency that's anything but green if you step outside the car's modest electric range. If you're willing to accept those sacrifices, the Fisker Karma makes a fine statement piece. Just know, the statement you're making is more about fashion than the planet.